Hi, I'm Dr. Judy Morgan. I love food therapy. I love using food to support and heal our pets. This is Dr. Carrie Smith, also a holistic veterinarian. Today, we are going to make a liver support recipe for dogs. So two of the main things that we see with our patients, one, elevated liver enzymes. Yes. It was like all the time.
Especially as they get older.
Yes. So we see so many elevated liver enzyme cases, and from a Chinese medicine standpoint, that usually is liver qi stagnation. So we're getting that stuck energy, a lot of inflammation, swelling in the liver, and when we get that swelling, the cells start to leak those enzymes. So we want to support the liver and help drain the liver. So by draining, we're helping to decrease that swelling, decrease inflammation, and that usually will help bring those enzymes down. Mm-hmm. So a lot of times the causes of the elevated enzymes are diet problems. Dry kibble. How many recalls have we seen with aflatoxins?
Yes, definitely.
A lot. And so those are mold toxins. And the mold toxins affect the liver. They're actually extremely toxic to the liver. And it kind of builds up over time. So we're seeing a lot of copper storage disease because of excess copper in the diets, which is really interesting. AFCO has a minimum, but they don't have a maximum for copper. So a lot of times there's so many copper supplements. When you read the ingredients on the label, if it has synthetic vitamins added, you might see 2 or 3 different sources of copper in there, which is not a good thing. So we're using things that are going to help drain and move that stagnation. So asparagus is really, really good for that. And also our spirulina is going to be really helpful with that. And we've got kelp, which we're using as an iodine source, but it also is really good for pushing that blood flow out through the kidneys, detoxifying that way. The other thing that we see is liver blood deficiency. So a lot of times these are dogs that are a little bit overweight, might have endocrine diseases. They might be struggling with pancreatitis, diabetes, hypothyroidism, Cushing's disease. For those with the blood deficiency, what we'll see is that dry skin, kind of brittle coat, lots of little flakies, really fine dandruff. They might be itchy, hot, panting. For that, we want to use blood tonics. Well, what builds blood? Dark leafy greens. Now, a lot of people will say, how can you feed spinach? Oh my gosh, oxalates. We might get oxalate crystals because spinach is high in oxalates. Well, you could substitute dandelion greens, you could substitute kale, mustard greens, if you are concerned with that. However, if your pet has never had a problem with oxalates, this amount of spinach is not going to give them a problem with oxalates.
Like rotating through the greens.
And rotating your greens, rotating your recipes. We don't recommend that you take one recipe and feed it forever. So other things that are blood tonics are dark red things. What's blood look like? It's red. Like treats like, so we've got liver, which is also dark red, and we're using beef. This is a 90% lean beef, which is where I recommend starting with your pets if they've never had homemade foods. But if you have a pet that you're worried about the excess fat, they've had a history of pancreatitis, you could go up to a 96% lean. That would be no problem. Healthy dogs that are eating a raw diet, that are used to eating higher fat meals, we could go down to an 80%. And for those feeding a keto diet, you're even looking for a 70% lean. You're looking for that really high fat, but fats become rancid when they're cooked and then they become inflammatory. So if you're using those higher fat levels, you want to feed raw.
Yeah, definitely.
So
seem to tolerate it much better when it's raw.
So to balance out our diet, this one's actually pretty simple. To balance out our diet, like I said, we've got the kelp for the iodine, and then we're using K9 minerals from RX Vitamins. That's our powder here, and that's going to give us our calcium and a lot of the trace minerals. So, I've got it covered up, but it's got magnesium and iron, strontium. So this is going to cover a lot of bases for us. Flaxseed oil is for our ALA. Then we have a sardine that's going to give us more omegas, and it helps balance out some of the extra vitamins and minerals that we're looking for. So we are going to grind all of this together. I know everyone always asks for the statistics on this, so let me find it for you. This is going to supply 41 calories per ounce. This is going to make almost 29 ounces. We usually feed 30 calories per pound. So you can figure it out from the calories. A 50-pound dog will eat about a pound of food a day. That's just a rule of thumb. We have charts available. 2 to 3% of body weight is generally what they're going to eat. So although it's interesting because my big 125-pound Doberman only needed 1 to 1.5% to keep him going.
Yeah, there's definitely a variation.
Yep. So it just depends how lethargic they are, how active they are. But at 41 calories per ounce, you'll be able to figure that out. So it's usually 20 to 30 calories per pound of body weight per day. And then as fed, it's 15% protein, 9% fat, 71% moisture. The dry matter basis, when we take the moisture out, it becomes a 53% protein, 32% fat. So like I said, if you need a lower fat, you could change out your beef to a more lean cut. Okay, let's get things mixed together. So I love when I make a diet for liver, which is the wood element. The color of wood is green. And the diets always come out green because we always have some sort of dark leafy greens in there. With the spirulina, that makes it even more green because that's so deep green.
You can smell the green.
And you can smell it. So this is going to be a diet that is complete and balanced. You can feed it to your dogs with some sort of liver issue, but it could be fed to any dog because it is complete and balanced, so it could be part of your rotation. Particularly if you have a dog who's a wood personality, those guys are easily frustrated. They tend to internalize things, and then when they get angry, they lash out. This would be something that would be a really good diet to help support them and be part of their rotation. Or if you have a dog who has had some liver issues, this is pretty nutrient dense at 41 calories per ounce. You don't have to feed quite as much as you would on a diet with a lower calorie per ounce. This could be fed raw. You could also gently cook it if your pet is not used to eating raw. So have fun and remember to rotate your diets.